All right, finishing up the notes with Chapter 1 with this particular video. And as we do, we're going to start off with Section 7 of your notes. So, getting the skills you need to be able to do voice acting. First off, what you're going to want to do is be able to analyze characters. You're going to want to be able to take a look at a script and try to figure out the scope of the personality, the attitude, the way the voice is delivered of the particular character that you are portraying, and how that character relates to any other characters that may be in that script or in the setting that that character is in, and try to basically find the character's voice in the middle of all of that. You're going to want to take more classes. Never stop learning. Continue to improve yourself. Continue to expand your horizons. Think differently about ways that you would approach certain types of work, and that's all done through learning. Take copy that you have, read that same copy in different ways, at different speeds, with different feelings or emotional attitudes. It can be fun to do that if you take a particular script and try to read it completely out of character, just to find a different sort of voice, and doing something that may be absolutely ridiculous for the particular script that you're reading may help you to find where the actual true voice is supposed to be. If at all possible, it's really a great idea to record yourself. Now, part of that is because when we hear ourselves speaking, just kind of listening through our bodies, we sound very differently to ourselves than how others hear us. When we record ourselves and listen to the playback, we hear what our voice actually sounds like. So it's a way for us to be a little more objective and a little more critical of the way that we present material when we speak, to be able to hear ourselves the way that others hear us. Listen to other voice actors. This is an important way to be able to find your voice based on inspiration from others. And also to be critical of them, to kind of learn from them as well. How do they interpret a message? When they speak the words, do you believe the words that they're saying? Does it convince you that they truly are the character that they're portraying? Secondly, how do they reach you emotionally? If they're trying to create a sense of excitement or sadness or anger, are they able to do that effectively? Thirdly, how do they use inflection, intonation, pacing, musicality, and express feelings? Now, as we go through some of these terms, we will talk about these in more detail as the course goes along. But basically, some of the different skills that we learn in voice acting, how do they use them? Do they use them well? Do they use them differently from how you would have thought to have used them? And does it work as a result? Fourthly, is their delivery conversational? Is it natural? Again, it's part of that believability factor. And fifthly, how do you personally respond to their interpretation? This is the chance for you to say, well, you know, if I was doing it, I might do that a little differently. Or they were looking for this particular emotion or response from me, but I wound up responding differently. And analyze that. Sometimes all we have to do is put a little twist on a word in order to change the entire direction of the message that we are portraying. The best voice actors do not sound like somebody doing voiceover. Again, we've talked about the fact that voiceover, voice acting, isn't necessarily restricted to someone that has a certain tonal quality of the voice in and of itself, but it's how they use their voice. And the best way to use the voice is not so much to try to be pigeonholed into something that's stereotypical when we think of voiceover, but that you are truly trying to channel a particular character. And that character is believable. So it doesn't sound like someone is putting something on, as it were. That it truly sounds like a concerned father, or what we would expect in cartoon characters, for example, that we expect something a little eccentric, or something that's nervous, or whatever the character, the temperance of that particular character calls for. A slight change in the delivery of a word, a shift to the nuance of the word, can change the entire meaning of a sentence. Think about if you're walking down the street and you see somebody wearing a hat, and you say to that person, "That's a nice hat." Then you can definitely tell that the person that's receiving that message is going to think, "Oh, they really like my hat." But if you take those same words and you say them differently, if you say something like, "That's a nice hat," they can hear the sarcasm in your voice, and they know that you're not necessarily paying them a compliment. So the way that we deliver words helps to express attitude and meaning and interpretation. And that's only one example of ways that we can do that. Sometimes we can convey that message by speaking softly, or perhaps by speaking more intensely. Those convey different meanings. We can convey different meanings by emphasizing certain vowels or consonants. If we over-articulate certain words, they create this sense that those words are important, or that there's a certain passion in the speaker, that they want you to pay attention to that. Changing inflection is also a great way to twist words. And we can talk about this in terms of emphasizing certain words. We can also talk about it in terms of taking a statement and turning it into a question. Things like that help to be able to convey exactly what it is that we mean when we're saying something. So here's something for you to think about. What are the qualities of your voice that make you stand out from others? What makes you different? What do you have to offer that some other voice actor does not have to offer? Do you have a certain quality of your voice? Do you have specialties in certain types of fields? Are you good at being eloquent? Are you good at doing accents? Are you good at portraying certain types of people? All those sorts of things are going to help you stand out from others in the industry. There's various styles of voiceover reads. You've got the storyteller, you've got the announcer, you've got those that speak from a place of authority. You got those that are kind of whimsical. You have those that are contemplative. And whoever that person is, they're going to say things in a particular sort of way. The words of a read are important, but the reality is that voiceover is really all about acting. So, yes, we convey things through words, and words in and of themselves have certain meaning, but the way that we deliver those words is where the art of it all comes in and helps to truly be able to communicate a message, and not necessarily have to have a whole lot of words explaining the words that we've just used, or using a bunch of diagrams or objects and that sort of thing. It's simply by speaking the words in a particular way. Classes. Taking classes, very important. It's a necessity to keep up with business trends and constantly hone performance techniques. Continue to learn. Continue to build on what you have learned. Learn how to do things differently in light of a different culture and different trends that are currently of prominence or importance. Four valuable types of classes that you can take. Well, number one, acting classes. Learn about directing, dramatic structure, comedic timing, stage presence, emotional delivery. Now, while acting in and of itself, we may not get to use all those tools when we're just speaking into a microphone. Some of the elements of acting that actors use when they're on the stage or they're in front of a camera are still valuable tools for us to help us to be able to get into that zone of where a character is at. And using gestures when we're just standing in front of a microphone might make us look weird, but it does help us to kind of guide our voice into the way that that voice and that delivery needs to go. Secondly, voiceover. Learn about niches of the business. Practice skills. Study new techniques. Learn how to speak good and speak good better. Some other types of classes that would be good for you to look into. Improvisational classes, especially helpful with dialogue or multiple voice copy. It helps for spontaneity to be able to come out, the ability to adapt quickly. A lot of improv involves doing things on the fly. So being able to change direction, perhaps change the nuance of a character very quickly. Improv will help you to be able to do that. Finally, business classes. Voiceover work today is largely entrepreneurial. Again, you are in your own business when you are a voice actor. You are not going out and getting a W-2. You're getting paid per job, per event, and you're responsible for your own well-being. You can take a look in the textbook. There's a list of suggestions on how to find different classes, and you may find that to be helpful. Word of caution, however, do not be enticed by illegitimate workshops that take your money and promise quick results and guaranteed success. Never, never, never use services that guarantee that your demo will be heard. Those are scams. Again, voice acting takes an investment of time, takes an investment of money, takes an investment of dedication and discipline, and someone that guarantees that you can become a great voiceover person within the course of an afternoon is trying to take advantage of you. No one is going to do the hard work for you. You are the only person who will determine your success in this business. It is completely up to you. So you want to take a look at your notes. You want to take a look in the textbook. There's various resources for other types of information that's available for you, and you may find some of that helpful. Now, let's talk about breaking into the business of voiceover. This is not your typical small business, as you may have gathered from some of the things that we have talked about already. First off, we've said this in different ways before. We're going to say it again. Never stop learning. Take classes, watch, analyze the work of others, listen to others' demos, pick up on things that others do well, maybe try to imitate them or adapt them to your own situation. Also listen to things that don't work well and stay away from those. Voice acting is different from stage and camera acting in that you may only have a few minutes to create a believable character, find the voice for that character, and then deliver a compelling performance as you read from a script. You're given a script, you get a couple of moments to look it over, maybe make some notes on it, ask a few questions, and based on what you've read, find the voice for the character that you are reading for. Learn how to be natural, confident, and most of all, believable in the scripts that you read. It needs to sound like something that you're not putting on. It needs to sound like it is true to the situation, true to the character, true to the event that is taking place. Voiceover is truly theater of the mind. If you can use your imagination, tell a story with vivid imagery, and take direction, you can do voiceover. Again, keep in mind, all we have is our voice to be able to communicate the message. Think about if you've ever listened to radio dramas, or there's a lot of podcasts out there right now that tell stories in an acting sort of way. And you listen to the story and you hear the characters, you hear the sounds that are going on behind you. And it allows you as the listener to paint the picture of what is going on, but the way that the characters present themselves, the way that they package the audio is going to help guide your imagination to some sort of semblance of what the creators of the content want you to imagine. You need to be able to do that if you take on the role of a voiceover artist or a voice actor. Variety, being able to use your voice to convey a wide range of attitudes, delivery styles, personality, also interpretation, energy, and emotions. All these sorts of things, again, just from what comes out of your mouth. You need to be able to convey all of those different things at the appropriate times. Success in the world of voiceover takes focus, discipline, and acting ability. You need to be able to concentrate on what it is that you're doing, to do it quickly, and to be able to make very deliberate assessments of the way that you deliver the content that is on the page written out for you. And it takes discipline for you to be able to have that sort of focus and to know what sort of approach that you need to take, how to get yourself into that place that you can make that sort of a delivery when it's called for. All right, as we close out this chapter, we're going to go through the 10 things that you need to know about voiceover work as the author has put this particular list together. First off, you need the guidance of a qualified coach who knows the business. This is really important in that we can kind of get into our own heads, how we think things ought to go, what we ought to do, all those sorts of things. And we get into that rhythm of doing things in and of ourselves. But sometimes there's another view that we just can't really wrap our minds around. So in terms of delivery, in terms of technique, in terms of skill, a coach can help us do all those sorts of things. You can't learn how to perform for voiceover by reading a book. You need talent, dedication, passion, and training that goes beyond the information contained in a book. We're using a book for this class. It is a tool. But just reading the book in and of itself and trying to practice the things that are told to you in the book without seeing examples, without participating in different types of exercises and doing the practice and getting feedback isn't going to help you a whole lot. You can't learn how to perform from a telecourse. A telecourse will give you lots of information, but by its very nature will be limited in the effectiveness of any performance coaching. Personal coaching and experience are your best training. Again, having that other set of ears that can give you feedback and let you know how you're progressing. Very, very important. You can't learn this craft from a single workshop. Professional film, stage, and television actors, I should say, constantly train between projects. Continue to educate yourself. Continue to make yourself better. If you produce your demo immediately following a workshop, you will be wasting your money. Don't even think about spending money on producing your demo until you know you are ready. How will you know you're ready? You'll know when you're ready. You'll have a certain amount of confidence. You'll have feedback that says that you are doing things well. And that's when you will know that you are ready. When you are ready, vet your demo producer thoroughly. Fully understand the details of their production process and ask to talk to some of their demo clients before committing to any production. Now, if you decide to go the route of using an outside production studio to have your demo produced. Some of the chapters in the later chapters of the book that we're not going to get to this semester talk more about the business side of voiceover work and what it is to build your own studio, to work with producers, to produce a demo, agents, unions, all that sort of thing. I would encourage you, if this is something that you want to pursue, that you take a look at those chapters in the book to get a little bit of guidance. You can also approach me and ask me questions as you have curiosities. No one can promise your success or promise that your demo will be heard. Anyone that guarantees you that that will happen is blowing smoke your way. You have to do the legwork yourself. VoiceOver is a hurry up and wait kind of business. We've talked about that already. You're going to spend a lot of time waiting on callbacks, follow-ups, waiting on hold, waiting on studio time. But you have to be ready at a moment's notice. VoiceOver is part of show business. Mastering the business side of VoiceOver is critical to achieving any level of success. You must be willing to become proficient in both performing and business skills if you are to become competitive and considered to be a professional. Finally, VoiceOver is not an overnight success kind of business. Only a passion for performing, continued training, and attitude of never quitting, and steadfast determination will get you to where you want to be. You've got to work on it. It's going to take time. If you're attracted to VoiceOver because you think this will be easy money, you would be wise to consider a different line of work. The competition is fierce. There are people out there that are going to be more talented than you. There are people out there that are going to be willing to do work for less money than you. There are people out there that are going to be willing to do more for the money that they are earning. You have to provide that unique skill set that makes people pick you for a particular job than somebody else because you have exactly what is needed for a particular project at a particular time. So there you are. There's the notes for Chapter 1. Now, some follow-up. You should have been filling out the notes as you've been watching these videos. Now you want to go and complete the study questions that are available on Blackboard. You want to submit those notes and study questions to me. Then, before we get together for our class, where we talk about things based on this chapter, there's a quick three-question survey that is on Blackboard that I'd like you to fill out for me. And as always, make sure that you are continually monitoring your Cougar Mail and Blackboard just in case there's any changes or updates or other things that you need to know. So, reach out to me with any questions or concerns. Otherwise, I will connect with you at our next class meeting.